Have you ever had an injury that resulted from playing the guitar? Well, if you have, then there must be something wrong with you. Believe it or not, that's how I used to feel about injuries that resulted from guitar playing. I've had quite a few injuries, and I'm going to be devoting a whole section of quick tips episodes to different injuries that I've had. I'm going to talk about what the injury was and what I did to overcome it. I think this is important so that if you have an injury, you won't feel like it's a weird thing. That's how I felt for a long time, and I think now that the truth is that if you do anything a lot, chances are you're going to run into injuries. And if you can get people to open up about their experiences playing instruments, usually they have stories about injuries. It's just that it seems to be the case that many people are not comfortable talking about it, and they'd rather act like they've never had to deal with anything like that. I've had to deal with it a lot, so I'm just going to lay it all out there. And also, maybe if you have something similar to something I've dealt with, some of these strategies will help you overcome your injuries. You know, we can use injuries as a very positive thing as long as we look at it as information our body is telling us. We're doing something our body doesn't like, so we need to change our technique, really improve our technique, and make the way we play the guitar better and easier so that whatever is bothering us doesn't bother us anymore. So the injury I'm going to talk about in this episode, I'm going to call needle fingers, because I don't know the actual name for it. So I remember exactly what I was doing when I first experienced this injury. I think I was working on my master's degree at the time, and I was in the practice room, and I was practicing the very famous Segovia scales. And I remember I was playing them like this, nice and slow, trying to get big sounds out of my guitar, doing generous amount of vibrato on each note, and all of a sudden I played a note with my pinky, and it just felt like the tip of a needle went into the tip of my fourth finger. I mean, it felt like I'd landed on a shard of glass or something. It hurt enough for me to say, ow. So I go back and I play the scale again, and sure enough, it happened again. You can imagine kind of the panic that I felt before I figured out how to overcome this injury. I would have to play, knowing that if I put my fourth finger down, I might feel a prick. And it was really difficult, and certainly not the way that you want to feel when you're trying to play a piece of music. So I think there's two things that helped me overcome this injury. One is better hand position with my fretboard hand, specifically with the fourth finger. And two was general strength building with the fourth finger, making it stronger. And those two things kind of worked together. The more strength that I had, the better my position would be, because I would need that position to be good to get all the strength that I could get. So first, let's talk about, improving the hand position so that the fourth finger can be as strong as it can be. I've worked with students with this many times because I've seen that this seems to be a common issue. A lot of us, when we play guitar, we're pretty strong here. You see where I'm gripping it? We're pretty strong where the thumb is and where kind of our first and second finger are. And for some reason, we very well may put the fourth finger out on an island. Okay, the fourth finger is your smallest finger. It is your weakest finger by definition. And when we put it out on an island, and when I say on an island, I mean, I've got so much strength on the other side of my hand, and if the fourth finger wants to play a note, well, it's just all on its own. It's not taking advantage of any part of the hand, and it makes it even more difficult to use. I realized that I would be reaching with my fourth finger when I really didn't have to, and a lot of the times my middle joint would be flattened out. What that did was made me have to press really hard, kind of from the tip joint down. And you might consider it pressing with the fretboard hand when you play, and I think that's okay, but I think of it more as placement, maybe grip, because if I have to press too much, it feels like too much tension. And if I feel like I have to press, I might just be pushing the tip of the finger into the fingerboard and into the strings too much, And I think what it did was it just put too much responsibility on this pad of the finger, and eventually it hit a nerve in there and it just said, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm not made for this, and this is not happening. And that's when I felt the needle prick sensation. So I had to learn, a couple of things. One, really feel the strength that you get from this side of your hand. So instead of coming at the fingerboard like this, really rotating the angle like this, okay? Now my fourth finger is very curled, just like all the other fingers are. And this felt like a huge adjustment for me, I remember. It felt like learning to play in a brand new way. It's such a simple move, but it felt like it was really difficult for me to fill out this space, and slowly I kind of began to creep this way. And then finally I realized, get out there. And that's what I tell students. I say, get out there. When you're gonna go play a note, don't reach for it, get out there. And that way you can really engage these knuckles in a strong manner and take advantage of this whole side of your hand. A good rule of thumb, or rule of pinky, might we say, is, I don't want to see this middle joint flat. Now, if you watch me play the guitar, sometimes I have to reach and I straighten it out, okay? That's because sometimes I have to do that to play things that I otherwise can't reach. But pretty much in every other scenario, I need to see this middle joint engaged, and I need to see it curled. That will protect me from pressing too much with only the tip, and it keeps me from feeling this needle finger type of sensation. Another thing that really helped was just general strength building. I needed my fourth finger to be stronger, and I needed it to be stronger in the easiest position that it can be in, that we kind of just went over, and for that to be my go-to position. Now, I've got plenty of finger strengthening videos available to the guitar community. I'll put the links all around if you want to come join us. But I'll go ahead and give you one pinky strengthening exercise here, and this is one I remember doing that helped me combine these 2 points. And that is, I would play scales with only the pinky. And by doing that, it forced me to kind of forget that I was going to use these other 3 fingers at all. So with them out of the picture, it encouraged me to move my arm more. And it encouraged me to keep the pinky in this stronger, more advantageous position all the time. And I found that I can just lift the pinky and move my arm, and the pinky comes straight back down after I move my arm. And I can be nice and firm. I can even do vibrato if I want. And I don't feel like I'm pressing too tense into the fingerboard. I feel like these joints are nice and firm. They're engaged. My pinky isn't reaching. It's not out on an island. And, I could do that all day long if I needed to. And then the last step here is, of course, doing all this training with your pinky so that when you play your pieces, whenever you need that fourth finger, you are coming at the strings from a very strong angle, and then you don't have to worry about, getting a terrible sensation like what I went through. And, I'll be as honest as I always am. Every once in a while, I will feel that needle sensation. Maybe like once a month or something like that. I'll be playing a piece, and all of a sudden I'll hit a note, and I'll just feel a little, and, it brings all those memories back. But, it's a signal to me that you can improve your pinky hand position. There's going to be something that I can do to make that position easier, because I know that I can play without feeling that, and then I just know I need to find a way to make sure that's what happens. So even though when this injury happened to me, it was pretty scary, I kind of freaked out about it a little bit, and I had to deal with it a while. It wasn't an overnight thing. In the end, it allowed me to really improve my technique. It's just funny how things like that kind of work out sometimes. So thank you very much for listening. For more quick tip videos and lesson videos and exclusive performances and a whole course dedicated to how to arrange music for the fingerstyle guitar by ear, come join us at the A Guitar community. If you have any injuries that you'd like to share, please let us know in the comments below, because I would be very interested in that. And have a wonderful day. Look at that flat pinky.